Hey there, welcome to the channel where you will find love, laughs, and DIYs. If you're new here, welcome. Let me introduce myself. My name is Crafty Kathy, and I am tickled pink that you stopped in to see me today. Hey, once you start watching my videos, you are a part of my family, and I would hope that you would subscribe and stick around so that you don't miss any episodes. I hope you get some good DIY inspiration, and let's just jump on in. DIY number one is this wicker mirror, and it's also got a little basket area in the front. I got it at a thrift store for $5. It's super dirty, so I took it outside. I cleaned it up. I took the mirror off, and I sprayed the outer part, the wicker part, with the 2x Rust-Oleum, and it took 3 coats of the Ultra Matte White. And then I took one of my stencils and I covered up the mirror, and we are going to use this Rust-Oleum frosted glass to make something that I've never done before. So the instructions say to spray it 3 times and you wait 2 minutes in between the sprays. It's still tacky when you spray the second and the third coat, and I love the way it came out. It was really cool. And then I had this small piece of a napkin, and I took it down to 1 ply. You know, most napkins have 2 or 3 plies, so you take it off to where it's just that top one. I'm going to use this Mod Podge spray that Plaid sent me. Thank you, Plaid. And to be honest, I did not like this as well as the regular old Mod Podge. It worked well, don't get me wrong, but I still thought that the other kind that you put on with your paintbrush did a little bit better. I was just going to put my napkin on this small part in the very middle to kind of give that wicker a little something to say, hey, look at me, here I am. And I liked it so well, I decided to put the napkin all the way across the front and on those sides. Shame on me. I totally forgot to run the camera when I put the rest of the napkin on, but all I did was just put it on and use this sponge that was barely damp to push it in. And here I'm just going to take one of my IOD stamps, and I am using archival ink in a green color, and it's the exact same color of the green that goes with my pink flowers there on that napkin. It's pink and green, and I wanted this to kind of look like a label, so I thought, well, let's do it in green. It's going to look really cool. But to be honest with you, it barely showed up. But it's okay because it still turned out great looking. I just wish I would have used black instead of green ink. But tell me what you think about this DIY. I love the way the mirror came out.
Where you go is where I go. I don't need nobody else. I got you, and you got me too. You can ride all the blue. I wanna do what you want to. We can leave and run away someday. Someday. I've been saving you. You save me too.
DIY number 2 is super easy. I got these 2 canisters at the thrift store, of course, and I already took the hardware off of the other one because it had some rust spots, and so I'm taking all the hardware off of both of these. I gave them 3 coats of the Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Matte White, and then all the hardware, I spray painted it with the black. It's the matte black Rust-Oleum. It came out looking super great, and I am going to use one of these silk screen stencils. It's kind of like the Chalk Couture, but it's just an off-brand from Amazon, and it is in my Amazon card if anybody wants it. It says Walk by Faith, and I'm going to use the Chalk Couture's black ink, And all you do is just go over this. I'm not using a scraper like I normally would because I was too lazy to go in the house and get it. I had just cleaned it the day before. And so I'm using like a little dauber. You know what I mean? The little thing that has the sponge on the end. And I'm just daubing and making sure that I get down inside these words. And it came out super great. Very easy DIY. A quick flip for my booth. I put the hardware back on it and it turned out great. The third DIY is my favorite of all of these. We're going to do a little bit of sublimation because it's been a little bit since we've done it. Look at these two beautiful prints that I purchased today, and they will be for sale on Sublimated paper in my Etsy store if you want it. All you got to do is purchase that, and it is totally ready for sublimation. You just need like a Cricut press, or you have to have a shirt press, and you pretty much just press it on whatever material you want. I'm actually using an old shirt that belongs to my husband. The more polyester that a material has in it, the better off you are. This was 63% polyester, and it's an old work shirt of his, actually. So when I finally found the part that was big enough that did not have a ton of like stains on it, I put these pictures down. Now these pictures are normally 8 by 10 each, but I made them smaller into about a 5 by 7 for the project that I'm doing. You lay it down face first and the image is mirrored. All I'm doing here is putting down my heat protective tape, or heat protected tape, I think you call it. In other words, it's tape that don't get all messed up when you add heat to it. So I'm just putting my tape around it, and then I put my Cricut on it on 385 for 60 seconds. And I want to show you the difference when you actually use the materials that are polyester. Now, I think they want you to use 75% polyester, but like I said, this was 63. But look how vibrant and beautiful this is on an old beat-up work shirt. Look at that. I was so happy. I got these two frames from a lady this weekend that had a lot of antiques, and they had been in her garage for quite a while, and they were pretty dirty, so I just gave them a good cleaning up, took them outside, and I sprayed them 3 times with the Rust-Oleum matte white. And so I brought them back in. Look how beautiful these turned out with the white. And what I did was I just cut those 2 images out, and I wanted them to have really rough looking edges. No pretty edges here. So I basically kind of just gave it a rough cut. I'm not kidding you, a very rough cut. And these are going to be put on the front of these. I just glued it to the front, and I just put very little glue, just enough to hold it. And see how I cut it off? I was just being very nonchalant and just chopping it pretty much. And the reason why I did it this way is because I had a certain look in my mind of what I wanted. I have a bag of old vintage keys that I got off of Amazon. They're not real keys, but I mean they're like replicas of keys. And I put one on top and one on bottom that matched. And then I'm going to add 2 buttons on each one, which here I had already glued the buttons down. So you see here it's in the left upper part of that picture of the bird. I like the way it looks when you put one big button with a smaller one on the top. And I get all of the little glue cobwebs off, and I just put a little bit of antique wax and got the excess off. And I'm just going to go around these frames so that you can see all the details of the frame. And I just very lightly went over the image, and I wanted to show you the difference. The one on the right is the one that I did have distressed with the antique wax, and the other one I did not yet. So I went ahead and distressed both of those, and this was really an easy DIY. The thing that took the longest, I think, was just spray painting these frames. You see how easy and quick it is to sublimate, and I didn't go into great detail of how I sublimate. I will put a video in the cards up on the right hand corner in case you want a longer instruction on how to do the sublimation. And those are for sale in my Etsy store at their normal size, the 8x10. Unless you want both of them and you want them smaller like this, and you just need to let me know and I can make them 5x7. No big deal. I would love if you would subscribe to my channel and become a part of my family here on YouTube. It's totally free, and all you have to do is hit that little red button that says subscribe, and you are in the club. And also, if you would give me a big thumbs up, the like button, because it really helps support my channel out here on YouTube. Now let's get into our next DIY. I got a basket the other day at the thrift store and forgot to show it to you. This is the color that it was before I painted it with my Rust-Oleum 2x white. And I took a drop cloth and I'm going to sublimate a picture. It's the same picture that we used earlier when we made the two little picture frames. It's a bird, and we're just going to simply, quickly sublimate this onto the piece of drop cloth. We put our tape over our picture and our wax paper over that, and then we do 60 seconds on 385. And then I'm also flipping it over to do the back side, because you're actually supposed to do that when you sublimate. A lot of times I skip this step, but I shouldn't, because it makes it more vibrant. And I chose the picture of the bird with the bird cage because I absolutely loved it. I am just cutting and ripping the drop cloth into a very small section, just a little bit bigger than the image, because I'm going to put this on the front of that beautiful white basket. I like to take the strings and kind of fray them because I like that look. After I hot glued my picture down, I started playing with some buttons because I like to put a button on each corner. I just think it kind of elevates the piece a little bit, and you know, it's like once I start a DIY, I can't stop, and I keep adding and adding to it. So I found these beautiful buttons that had flowers on them. They were from Walmart, but I felt like they weren't exactly what I wanted. And so I played around until I found just some smaller black ones, very simple. And I just glued one button in each corner. And I take some antique wax on the end of a brush. I made this little tag yesterday because it had to harden overnight. It's made from my clay, my DAS clay that I get from Amazon. And I just kind of rolled it out a little bit bigger than like a silver dollar. And then I used a stamp that I have to stamp it on there, and I let it alone overnight so that it can harden. And I put that on a lot of my items in my booth. It's just a simple little tag, a little extra gift for the person that's buying it to say thank you. And I'm just going over everything very, very lightly with my antique wax. And I had already put my white wax all over this basket. Even though it's already white, you still have to just make sure that it's got a good seal on it. And I think this turned out beautiful.
What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to when he wants to dance? I wonder what's that like? I have got him on my mind. she felt the same, and I'm acting
All right, our very last DIY. Guys, I do not know what possessed me to buy this thing, but the other day I was at the thrift store and I came across about 5 of these. It's a Victorian boot. I don't even know what it is, if it's a vase, if it's a shelf sitter, I don't know, but I grabbed it anyway. It was black and it had some rust spots on it, but I took it outside, and of course the Rust-Oleum 2 times Ultra Matte White saved the day. And I just have a napkin here that has roses, which I felt like it went with the whole Victorian vibe. I've got it down to 1 ply. And when you decoupage something like this, you're going to have wrinkles. There's pretty much no way around it because there's so many spots that go up and down and in different directions. And it's not just a, flat surface, in other words. So you're going to have a little wrinkle. You just don't wear yourself out, and all you do is you just put your pieces on here. And if you have a piece that's bare, or maybe you tore it or whatever, it's okay. It's not a big deal. You just tear a small piece of the napkin off and decoupage that down. I'm using the regular Mod Podge, and this is just a really sped up version, and I'm sorry that I sped it up a little bit, but it was just for the sake of time.
can't stop thinking about him. And would he understand if I
So I just went over the whole little boot with my napkin, and all it took was 1 napkin. This week was a tough week for me. I lost my Penny P.O. And those of you who don't know who Penny P.O. is, she was my prized chicken. Hey, I'm a country girl. I love my chickens, and I never did until I got my own flock. And I'm absolutely in love with these guys. And I really missed Penny P.O. It broke my heart, and she was kind of one of the staples here on the channel. I remember back a year ago when I was making DIYs that I would say this is Penny P.O. So instead of the bloopers, I just felt like I was going to have a little memorial to her since she was such a staple on this channel. But I had to show you guys how my boot turned out. I hope you like it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what to think about this thing. I stuck a flower in it and I don't know. Maybe it's a vase. I don't know. I hope it'll sell. If it won't, I'll have my Victorian boot here at my house. How about that? All right. So if you hung on to this video this far, I just want to thank you. And I love each and every one of y'all. I had to bring Savvy because he wanted to say hello. And this is the famous Penny, guys. This is my Penny P.O.
saw you paint a picture of a face that wasn't even close to mine. I know I shouldn't be in love, but it's so hard to move on. You haven't changed, you stayed the same. But if you did, I'd still love you anyway.
And the girls say hello. There's Penny P.O. She says hello because you know she's a star now and she stands out. Oh, and my grandson threw something at him. That's him. He's 2. He likes to, he threw foam at them. I don't know why. He thinks they're going to eat it, I guess. Little chicken baby, what you doing around here today? I see you looking for your mama. What you doing, little girl? Hey, 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 there's my Penny P.O. looking like a queen today. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yo, yo, yo.
After 9, I still
Penny, I already told you I don't have any meal.
Cause I've been up till 6 a.m. Wrote 5 songs all just for you. 3 of them I can't bear listening to. I'd give you the world like I promised I would. Even though you wouldn't do the same. I'd give you the world like I promised I would.
Ian, I've done put your mealworms out. Watch her, she'll pick on the bag. Saying, I want that, Mom. Watch her. That's what I thought. I done put your mealworms out, silly girl. Come on. Come on. Come on, Pen. Come on, Pen. Penny. Mealworm time. Yeah, she's gonna come over here and peck on the door. It's exactly what she's doing. You can see her shadow move when she pecks. I'll come out in a minute, Penny. All right, see you then. I'll be out in a minute. I told y'all, she comes and pecks on the door. Don't think I'm lying. She's a nut. Look at her.